The Prentice Alsop Heating and Air Coaches Corner, fueled by Donut Country and McDonald's Murfreesboro on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and streaming at WGNSSports.com.
Back here on the Coaches Show, brought to you by Edward Jones Financial Advisor Lee Colvin, who'll work with you to develop a complete and tailored strategy to help you achieve your financial goals. That's Edward Jones Financial Advisor Lee Colvin. Joining me now in studio, Joshua Bugg, the head coach of the Riverdale Lady Warriors. Coach, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good to have you. I was just thinking in preparing to talk with you, and I was looking over the scores for the season and such. It's been a long time since Lawrence County and Kenwood, hasn't it?
It has. It really has.
Seems like an eternity.
Yeah. It's the thing. Like, basketball is a game of runs, and it's a season that's the same exact way. And so we've got a JV tournament today at Riverdale. We got a lot of good schools there, so that'll be a good experience for our young players. And then just 2 more regular season games, and then everybody's 0-0 reset.
Yeah.
And so I guess, if I'm being real right now, we're in a little bit of a funk, and we've got to figure out how to turn that in the right direction and just keep our kids playing hard and keep them together. But, yeah, it's been a long time since the beginning of the season.
Yeah, I can only imagine the ups and downs of an entire season. And you mentioned JV there, and, there are a lot of things that fall under the umbrella of head coach. You can't do them all, but you have to delegate and have your hand in all of it too. So, JV is an important part of your future.
Yeah, absolutely. And at the end of the day, I read a book like 7 years ago, and it just talked about how kids want to play. And so we try to incorporate those things in practice, where it's game-like. But, the bottom line is we want our kids to play, whether it's JV or varsity. That's what they sign up for. And today they get to do that in the tournament format, which is really cool, good experience. Somebody's be first, somebody be second out of 7 teams. And so looking forward to that when I get back over there. I think the first game this morning was Lebanon versus Stewart's Creek. So
first game this morning already, right?
Yeah, 9 a.m.
Yeah. So tell me about are these teams from the county? Is this, do you have like a little county championship, or is this teams from outside, or how do you put that together?
So I had put it on our schedule wanting to host some events. Riverdale used to host a lot of things on the girls' side, and just trying to establish those things. And it's harder than it looks. I think forever they ran the greatest team camps during the summer. And so last year we brought back a pretty good middle school event. We're going to try to run that again. I already got information out for that. And so this one, we had several sponsors. Volunteer Stainless, which is my mom's company. She helped me a lot, and then Celeste and Claire Maxwell, they helped me get our officials paid for so that we could generate a little bit of a profit off the event. But we've got Lebanon, Cookeville, Wilson Central, Stewart's Creek, Smyrna, Kip out of Nashville, and then us to round out seven teams. And just kind of a cap-in event for those kids that only got to play JV, but we've obviously got 4 or 5 kids that play a lot of varsity, and so it's really good for them because they're getting a double dip.
Sure. It's you don't know whether, maybe when you're playing an opponent one week, whether they have freshmen or JV, and sometimes they do and don't, and you just almost have to create your own schedule for all of those age groups, right?
Yeah, and I think the way that I do things is similar to what I see, Randy Kaufman, Corey Barrett. People got away from, hey, we're going to play 3:30, jam in 4 straight games, and a lot of people play their JV stuff on the weekend. And I think this is kind of the narrative that I tell our parents and our program and our kids and our coaches. Like, I consider our JV like our second 5. And so we're always trying to develop that depth. Mm-hmm. So, obviously you're going to throw 5 out there that you think is going to give you a chance to win in your varsity games. But your best varsity teams are going to be the teams that have more depth. And so it's definitely not a knock from my perspective to be playing JV. It's all about their development, and we want them to have success there so that they're ready to handle more, intense environments and adversity and things like that.
Makes total sense, because just look at your season this year. You've had to deal with injuries. You get into foul trouble, and I know that was something that kind of plagued you last night. You're going to call on someone that you hope has had more than just experience on the varsity floor.
Yeah, absolutely. we wrap our minds around like what we want to do. We have a defensive system. We have full court presses, zones. We have mans. We have 10, 11 things that we like, and depending on who we're playing, we try to simulate pressure because we're more of a defensive team than an offensive team. And I think most of your good teams are for the most part. But we're really just struggling with foul trouble right now, and that's something that we've got to figure out. I definitely will take the lead on that and saying, hey, that's my fault. Try to figure out a way to coach better and put them in a better spot as players on the floor. But so I don't know. I got off a mark a little bit there, but defensively we've got to be better without fouling. But when you got a lot of young players and they're playing, for example, we played really good against Blackman the other day, but we're trying to guard Lyric, who scored 25, and if you look at the end result of the game, like she's the difference, that one player. And last night for Gallatin, they had a big, strong senior post player, had 25 points as well. So there's a lot of positives that we do that don't always show up on the scoreboard, and we're really not that far away. But we've really got to focus in with this time that we have left for this season. And, yeah, we want to develop JV, but we want to try to get the most out of the rest of this season that we can.
Well, and, like I started out, it's been so long since Kenwood and Lawrence County, but it's not too long. You've got one more week in the regular season before, as you mentioned, being 0-0. And likely if the brackets turn out the way that the standings are at this point, you'll have a rematch with Siegel, which you split with, and that's the last time we got to see you guys, that road game. And boy, that was just really a grueling game. It was the longest high school girls game I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, it didn't really hit me until we got out of there, but I think somebody said the boys didn't start until about 8:10.
Yeah, because
they also had their senior night or homecoming or something, one of them things there. Here's the thing about Siegel. Siegel, their guards stepped up in that game. They got a couple young kids that applied some pressure when we got in foul trouble on some of our second and third ball handlers. They've got a junior post player that does really well around the basket, number 22. I struggle with her name sometimes. I think it's Neela.
Neela Alexander, yeah.
But, she does a really good job, and I like the spirit that they play with. And, that game in particular, we lead the whole entire game. I'm missing, my main ball handler. She didn't play in that game at all. And then we had 3 kids foul out. And so it was just like this slippery slope as the game went on. And the crowd really got to some of our kids. And, foul trouble was an issue again. And, they earned it. We split with them last year. They won over there. We won at our place. So it's the same exact scenario. I think we're a lot better this year, and I think we'll be prepared to handle that game. But you can't take anybody for granted, and they're definitely capable of beating us. Coach Weekly's doing a nice job with those girls, and I've known Coach Middleton for a long time. I know he still has a lot of influence on the bench over there, and we'll be prepared to play whoever we need to. Our kids will be focused, and they're going to give it their best. And, what my mom always tells me, she reminds me to this day, hey, somebody's got to win, somebody's got to lose, and it's just the reality of the world that we live in. And, that's the cool part about it. You're competing, and hopefully when we do play that game, it's going to be Riverdale that gets to advance to the region tournament. And, if I'm being honest, nobody wants to be that one team that doesn't make it on the boys or the girls side. Last year we made it. That was a good, step forward for us. And so this year our goal is definitely to make it to the region and then try to win a first-round game, which won't be any, easy task because you're looking at a Lebanon or a Cookville or a Stewart's Creek. And the good thing about our district is, everybody's pretty good. And so you get pushed around a little bit, and it can either make you better or it can make you, a little nervy, but I think our kids are getting better through all the adversity.
And Joshua Bugg is our guest this morning talking Riverdale girls basketball. You still have 2 district games left, and so maybe a bit premature. You're going to be underdogs against Oakland and Rockvale, but that's why you roll the ball out there and play the game too.
Absolutely. Last time we played Oakland, it was just so much better as compared to last year. I think we ended up losing by 19 or 20 points, but Alana Waller stepped up in that game. I think she was the leading scorer on the floor. She had 21 or 22 points, so that was a big step for her. She really does have the ability to just be elite, and my challenge for her right now is don't be just elite driving the basketball. People know you can do that. Like, be elite on the defensive end. Be elite as a leader. Be elite on the rebounds, because she's definitely got that ability. and I think we're going to go as she goes. And if I look at last year, during the regular season, if you go back and look at it, we almost beat Rockville twice. It was 2 very close games. They ended up taking it, I think, by like 4 when we played over there. It was a shootout last year. It was like 68-64. It was a fun game. They turned us over at the end, and but this is a new year. We played them a couple weeks ago without Alana, and they really got after us. They put a hurting on us from the scoreboard perspective, and it'll be just an opportunity for our kids to respond, and that's why we play the games. Looking forward to it. And, we don't want to beat teams that we should beat. We want to figure out a way to win that big game, and that's really where we are as a coaching staff. Like, we just want to have that big game, that staple win for them. And what better time to do it than at the end of the season? So.
Sure, absolutely. And you're going to have to do you've got away and home next week at Oakland. And whenever you say Riverdale and Oakland in the same sentence, it brings back all those old school rivalries too.
Yeah, and if you look across like the county, just with the things that the Rutherford County Schools is doing, like the campus is looking beautiful. All the construction should be done in August, and so. Those 2 schools mean a lot to Rutherford County Schools, and there's a lot of investment there. And I definitely feel a lot of support from our school admin and just people in the community because, it's the same on every side. Every school's got people that want to see them do well, and, definitely with Riverdale and Oakland.
Well, it's the oldest rivalry in Murfreesboro, but, I've seen, you guys have a rivalry with Blackman. I mean, everybody has – it seems like if you play in Rutherford County versus Rutherford County teams, they're a rival. It's a rival game just about every night.
Yeah, absolutely. We look sometimes and, like to see a little bit more people at the games, kind of like it used to be, but there's just so many, games going on at the same time in the same county. It's just a big county. There's a lot going on, and everybody's got the ability to be good on any given night. And so Oakland's talented. They got some seniors that handle the ball. Cadence can score the ball really well, and they've got a good group. They definitely have the ability to finish in the top of our district and region. So it's not going to be an easy challenge no matter who we're playing.
Well, Coach, appreciate you coming in this morning, and good luck with your JV tournament. That's an all-day deal for you today, isn't it?
Yes, sir, it is.
All right.
If anybody wants to watch some games, come on out and buy a ticket, buy Gatorade, and sit down and watch some basketball.
No rest for the weary, right?
No, sir.
I appreciate you coming in.
All right, thank you, sir.
That's Joshua Bugg joining us this morning, the head coach of the Riverdale Lady Warriors on the Coaches Show, brought to you by Lascassas Feed Supply, locally owned and operated by Coy and Jennifer Young, specializing in animal feeds, premium pet foods, farm supplies, and more.
Craig's Tax Service.
We perform tax preparation, individual tax returns, corporations, partnerships, and all your payroll bookkeeping needs.
Brett Craig with Craig's Tax Service.
Craig's Tax Service is located just off Memorial on Heritage Park Drive. You can contact us at 890-2233.
It makes sense to get help with your taxes. Call 890-2233 for an appointment.
We are proud to support all Rutherford County student athletes.
Craig's Tax Service, 890-2233.
Franklin's Printworks has been in Murfreesboro for over 25 years.